Okay, at 6 p.m., January 28th, we'll bring this village council meeting to order. Could we rise for the pledge, please? Michelle, if you could take a roll, please.
Everyone is present.
Thank you, Michelle. We have the minutes from January 7th, our organizational meeting. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes, and do we have any comments on the minutes? If not, do we have a motion to pass the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Jill, then Kathy.
Jill, then Kathy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, we have Kelsey Coleman here tonight.
All right, good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. I want to take a minute before I dive into agency sharing. This is Leanna Purdue. I believe Michelle, or at least some of you, got her billboard that we create for this role. So yes, that is Leanna. So this will be my last meeting, and I'm just showing Leanna kind of the ropes. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm now moving on to the village of Ashley. So we've been expanding our leadership team, and it's one of the roles of leadership team members, and Leanna's new to us. How long have you been here now? 6 weeks? Yeah. So she is our director of fiscal. Our director of fiscal. So you will be in good hands with her. I kind of showed her the ropes of who Tom and Michelle is, so she will be with you next time. First, and most importantly, I'm assuming, Mayor Kennel, you have seen this. If you haven't, this is our annual district advisory council meeting scheduled for March 19th. As always, if you are unable to attend as the mayor, Mayor Kennel, is it going to be, okay, I wasn't sure if it was going to be Zach again, so I will let our health commissioner know. So thank you for that. And then the other two items you already have hung up. Thank you, Michelle. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about the overdose prevention tools that we have. We are a Project Dawn site from the state of the Ohio Department of Health, and that allows us to get free materials to prevent overdoses in the way of the naloxone nasal spray, and then, of course, the fentanyl and xylazine test strips. And if you can see here on one of the pictures, this is actually Concord Township. They actually put outdoor boxes out around their ball fields. So when you guys are thinking about your beautification efforts and the things that you talk about for your village, if you are interested in something of that nature, my colleague Sydney Bennington, she's on my team. Those resources are all free to you. We provide it. All we would ask you to do is install something like that. But we can do any kind of community training or anything like that. So just wanted to share some more information about that. And then, of course, we have our ongoing opening for our Board of Health member as well, and we just need that representative to be from either a village or a township. So if you know of anybody that might be interested in serving on that, please get in touch with Leanna, and we can answer any questions that you might have. And that's all I have.
Anything for Kelsey? Thank you, Kelsey, first of all, for all your support. Appreciate that very much, and good luck.
Yep.
Say hi to Dave Lockhart for me.
I will.
All
I
right,
will.
appreciate it.
You're
Anybody else?
welcome.
As of right now, I should be able to attend that meeting.
All right, we have a moment for public feedback if anybody wants to come forward. Okay. Mayor's report tonight. I just want to just talk for a minute about the last couple of days we've had in the village and all the snowfall. We had a record one-day snowfall for this area. I think it's like 15 inches, something to that nature. And in all of that going on, we have obviously a small maintenance team. We were down one head count And you might expect I was quite worried about where we were headed over the last few days. Cody stepped up big time, so I just want to obviously publicly thank Cody for all his hard work over the last few days. And to let you know, Cody has given us his resignation. He is going to take a new opportunity, which is a great opportunity for him. So I'm really happy for him. So as God's plan would have it, we had Kevin Kohler step forward, and we interviewed Kevin, I think it was this last week, right? And just what a perfect fit. Kevin knows the village. He actually had worked for the village some years back. Kevin stepped right into the role Sunday afternoon, or whenever you guys started on Sunday. It was pretty early. 4 a.m. That wasn't the afternoon. In the afternoon, you were already tired. And between Cody and Kevin and a little help from Matt, I think we did an outstanding job. And a lot of snow everywhere. Obviously, it's tough to find places to put snow when you have that much. So if you hear from any of your neighbors or whatnot, we've got a 10, 20-foot pile of snow. Just be aware that it's really hard to find places to put snow when you're moving so much. But through all of that, I kind of joked today to Tom, we didn't really have even one complaint. We had half a complaint, right? So that is a testament to these guys. I want to welcome Kevin to the team. Thank you for your efforts and really appreciate that. And he's here tonight to meet you guys, and thank you again, right? And that's all I have tonight.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. You said you were down one head count, but if you had Cody and you had Kevin. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we
Technically.
I think we had an emergency situation and you deputized Kevin on Sunday, did you not? Okay, all right.
We had a discussion with Ken and the mayor, and given the emergency, I authorized Kevin to start early. So we're very thankful. Kevin's a godsend, perfect fit, like the mayor said, for the village, and we're really excited.
And you'll expect to see another hire here fairly soon. Kevin and Tom will be taking the lead to find a second person for us. All right, that's mayor's report. Pete, do you have anything, Council President?
No, just real quickly, next month will be the first safety and security meeting of the year on 2/28. So that's at 10 a.m. We'll be having it here at the Village Hall. We're looking for as much community feedback as we can, just kind of continuing on with that mantra of community mandates, where we're going, what you guys want to see. We did a lot with the Safe Streets audit last year that Morpsey provided, and I think 26 is more the year of implementation. So your feedback and guidance is always a big part of that.
Let me jump back in here on the snow. One last thing I neglected to say. There's a gentleman in the back of the room, Tim Erb, who texted me on Saturday night, I think it was, and said his house would be open to our people that were working. He fixed breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and people stopped by, and I think they took advantage of that. From what I heard, it was the best bean soup they ever had. So thank you for that, Tim. You're a great resident. Appreciate it.
Mayor, if I could also add to that, we're going to be putting commendations in the files of the guys that stepped up this weekend. We are really blessed at the hours they put in. It got right on it. So we'll be putting those in each of the personnel files of the people who were our heroes this weekend.
Okay, Tom, your report?
Okay, it's in front of you, and I just want to go over some things. There's a lot going on, and really want you all to know about what it is. This codification initiative, you've heard us mention it. Just as a reminder, what that is we have American Legal, who publishes the Ohio Basic Code, which we adopt every year as our code. Ohio Legal has a service that they offer where they'll go through all of our ordinances and everything going all the way back. And we've been doing this now. Michelle's been working on this for several months. They have all that information. What they're doing now is their legal team is comparing ordinances with ordinances to make sure that there's no overlap, They're comparing ordinances with new Ohio Revised Code provisions to make sure everything's in compliance. And they're going to issue us a recommendation to delete certain ordinances and adopt certain other ordinances. And there'll be one big, huge vote on your part to get the entire thing cleaned up once and for all. When we're done, our ordinance will be on a searchable database on the internet. Ken is very excited. Michelle and I are super excited because right now it's really hard to even know what we have. And so that's that project. It's going really well. Office reorganization, you see stuff all over the place. I have to commend Mallory here. I don't know if you guys know Mallory. She's our admin. She has single-handedly tackled every stray box of records in this building. And we now can say that every single box of records has been touched, looked at, and gone through. And we're eliminating duplicates and unnecessary things. And, but we're preparing for a records retention commission meeting, which I recommend take place on February 23rd. That's item 5 in my report. Personnel, there's a lot to talk about. The mayor mentioned some things. We gave you the revised personnel manual last month. My recommendation is that it become effective on the 1st of February, unless there's some objection to that. Number 2, we hired Kevin to replace Logan, and we're really thankful for that. Interviews in progress for the maintenance tech to replace Cody. And then number 4, staff realigned with 2026 budget and revised personnel manual. We talked to you a lot last year about changing the position description for Matt and for Lauren, and also for modernizing our maintenance positions, our current positions of maintenance crew member and maintenance crew leader. We proposed and then completed a reworking of that classification into a maintenance technician classification with 4 levels. So we now have maintenance tech 1, maintenance tech 2, 3, and 4, with Kevin being the 4, the lead level, and Cody or his replacement being a 2 or a 3 level. So if you, all that stuff's in the packet I gave you last month. That's what we're in the process of doing and reclassifying those positions. We are obtaining a final quote for Anthem, from Anthem Employee Health Insurance. We've been pursuing this now for over a year, and we think we're at the point where we can get a final quote. It looks like we can be pretty close to what we're already spending on our stipends. And then I'm working on the 2026 performance plans. Just real quick, some of the stuff's been mentioned. You'll hear about it again. Snow operations, signage review. We have a report that I did on every sign and street marking in the village, and we have a plan to bring that up to compliance. So that's really happy about that. The Safe Street audit, as Councilman President Casuccio mentioned, is completed, and we're implementing that plan. I have a copy of that plan if anybody's interested. It's also on our website. Village-wide signage. Okay, parking legislation. You're gonna see some legislation tonight that's the beginning of an initiative to get a handle on parking. I've spent a lot of time with Ken and looking through old legislation, trying to figure out, what all's been done in the past. It makes me happy for the codification ordinance because a lot of that stuff conflicts with itself and it's obsolete. Anyhow, there are some parking concerns. There's parking, get a lot of complaints and a lot of issues over on Front Street next to Coffee Vault between there and the river. Sometimes oversized trucks will park and stick all the way out. There's delivery vehicles. It's really a problem over there. We want to improve the area on Walnut Street along the river as well. We want to add spaces there with stripes. We have a downtown plan that we've been working on that I think will facilitate more spots. Anyhow, I'll show you kind of the master plan for that next time. I wanted to let you know that that's underway. And I don't want to take too much longer, but we're just defining a lot of things right now, like the road improvements project definition, trying to figure out what should be in it, what shouldn't. Same with the parking improvements, signage. Refuse, recommend extending the Rumpke contract. You're going to see legislation on that, and Blake's with us tonight to talk about that. I'm just going to, in the sake of time, let you read page 2, and if you have any questions, just contact me. I don't think there's anything earth-shattering here. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mayor.
For Tom? Michelle, fiscal officer report.
Okay, I'll make it quick, but it's been a busy time for me. Of course, it's the beginning of the year, but all the annual reports have been completed. All our financials in the Hinkle report were sent to the Auditor of State. All the W-2s, 1099s are done. Everything new was set up for this year, and it was published in the paper, which is a requirement that all the financial reports are complete. Job and Family Service report's done, and the big one, or the Bureau of Workers' Comp true-up report was completed and paid. And just a reminder, our next meeting is February 23rd.
I think I want to add something. This team that you have here is just unbelievable. I've worked at a lot of places, a lot of municipalities I've been involved with. We are really blessed with just a great team. I mean, Kevin comes out of nowhere. Michelle, her work, Matt has saved us so much money and all the stuff he's taken on. I just want to say, I really love this place. I originally was just going to help Jeff out for a couple months. That's how it started, and I really love this village. This is a very special place, and I just want to remind you all of that. It's really awesome. The team we have here, the work we're getting done. I'm just thankful as can be, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to let me be here and enjoy all this. So, I wanted to add that.
All right. Finance team, we reviewed the invoices for January. Are there any issues that we need to know about?
Just one thing that came up, this happened actually today. AEP was having issues with their ACH payments. And so Michelle had to go in and reconcile. Like, we had some charges that were 10 cents, $5 instead of the actual full bill. So she spent a lot of time today on the phone reconciling that, and it'll take about 2 billing cycles. So in March, our AEP bills might be larger than normal. But again, that was out of our control. But other than that, that's the only issue or outstanding glare on our invoices.
Just for clarification, which bills? Are we talking about residence bills or the
Our
village?
village bills.
Village bills.
Our village
Okay,
bills.
right.
But we could let the residents know if somebody would happen to call. There was quite a few, I guess, after talking with the AEP, that anybody's bills that were due to be withdrawn today, there might be a problem with what the amount was, and they're going to fix them on hopefully the next billing, but they said it may take 2 because a lot of the next billing has already gone out before they realize this. So if anybody would happen to say, oh, my AEP bill was way off. So
Should we maybe post something out there on our social media that they could, with a number that they can contact? Tom, can you? Okay, thank you. All right, other than that, do we have a motion to pay invoices for January?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jillian.
Kathy first,
Kathy.
Jillian second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Finance team of financial statements, same?
Yep. All
Read?
good.
Everything's good? Do we have a
Everything's
motion
good.
to approve?
So moved.
Jill,
Jill.
motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second. Jill, then Jillian.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Your zoning report is in your packet. I will mention something, I think, at the end, and when we get to other business, Zach's going to mention this, I think, but just to be aware, we have an application from a gentleman, Mr. Hollis, who would like to develop 42 West Columbus Street. He put a full application in. That was in front of zoning last week. Zach will mention a little bit more about it when we get further in, but I just want to make you aware, we have some activity on that spot. It's an interesting piece of land to try to develop, especially as it relates to the tightness of the property and, the concerns that zoning raised around parking and access and everything else. But just want to make you aware. We'll talk more about that later when Zach has a chance. All right. We're going to move resolution number 2026-01 up because we have Blake from Rumpke here, so we'll go ahead and read that one. If anybody has questions for Blake, he'll field those, and then we can let him go unless you want to stay for the rest of it's kind of for you. Okay,
Yes,
resolution.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Is there any way we could get recycling every day or every week versus every other week for Galena?
Separate trucks?
Because they're in, like Sunbury has them, Rumpke does Sunbury Road, that, it's just odd that we don't have it every week.
Blake, why don't you give me a proposal for that extra cost, and I'll run it by our leaders, and Jillian, is that
Those are
acceptable?
separate
Yeah,
trucks,
that's fine.
right, Blake?
I assumed that there would be an additional, but I get asked all the time, why are we every other week and everyone around us is every week? Yeah, just fine. And any information would be helpful, or at least us being able to give a reason why, because I'm like, I don't know. So you're here, so I asked.
It's funny,
I have a ton of recycling.
yeah, my recycling fills up before my other does. Or am I the only one?
No, mine's the
No,
same way.
yeah. Yeah, seems like,
Okay, yeah, just, at least would like to know or explain why.
Yeah.
so.
all right.
That's all, but we can read it.
Where'd I put it? All right, resolution, or ordinance number 2026-01, first reading. An ordinance extending a certain solid waste and disposal contract with Rumpke of Ohio, Inc. First reading. Second reading will be next month. All right. Resolution number 2026-01, first reading. A resolution approving the permanent appropriation budget for the Village of Galena for calendar year 2026. We're going to have 3 readings on this team, so, you know, as you go through the budget, I would encourage you just to raise your points, and then we'll make adjustments and answer those as we go. All right, no questions there. All right. Resolution number 2026-02, first reading, a resolution transferring funds in the amount of $62,400 from salary mayor 1000-710-161 to other parks 1000-320-600. First reading.
Quick question on that, Jeff.
Yes.
I was just curious, is there anything that is pending over the next 2 months that would be extremely helpful for to have that money in order to make this maybe an emergency reading? I'm just curious because
I think we're fine
we're good.
to just let it go
We've got the
3
temporary
readings.
budget.
Pardon?
Because we've got the temporary budget.
We
currently.
have some carryover.
Yeah,
And of
okay.
course, they're not doing any work for the next
Yeah. Okay.
month, probably.
Okay.
So I think we'll be fine.
Okay,
Thank you for
perfect.
asking.
Just checking. Thank you.
Okay. Next one, resolution number 2026-03, first reading, a resolution adopting rules of council for the Village of Galena. And Pete, I'll turn this to you.
Yeah, so as everybody on council knows, and most of our regular attendees, we did not have a rules of council that was passed in '25. We're bringing the 26 rules back up, and there are some adjustments that were proposed.
Pass this down.
Yep. It's still a breathing document, so I think that, you know, Jillian has read it, had the opportunity to digest. I think Kathy is working on some stuff. I would just encourage everybody, since we're on the clock, my intention is to not table this legislation this year, to get it done in 3 readings, have it be a breathing document, and then approve it in March. That way we have kind of marching orders for 26. So the first round of suggestions that we got was an implementation of a dress code. For those of you who don't have it, I'll read it real fast. We just want to make it business casual. You know, no T-shirts, jeans, hats, hoodies, or political statements on clothing. I think that's fairly reasonable. Phones, cell phone usage has become a distraction during the council meetings. Some of us will continue to use our electronic devices for like the packets and whatnot, but trying to keep that to a minimum. The legislation, section C5, replace the word tabling with postpone. Just kind of a language cleanup there. 4 is miscellaneous H section 6. use of village resources in council correspondence, change heading from use of village resource in council correspondence to use of village resources in council correspondence, or creating or generating resources indistinguishable from the same. And then that comes with a text addendum that says no council member should create letterhead, social media posts, or other documentation that is indistinguishable or otherwise representative from official village correspondence. And if such an incident occurs, council will discuss in executive session at the next scheduled meeting in order to establish whether that council member should be disciplined or if dismissal is necessary. It's a necessary solution. So those are the recommendations that I have up to this point.
So, Mr. President, what's going to be the process in your mind as we go through the 3 readings? You're requesting people's input?
Yep, I am requesting input from council. At the end of that, we'll drill down all these. Everything that I just read was a suggestion. So at the end of that, we will make a determination on what to keep and what to strike, either add or amend current rules of council, and then implement it on the 3rd reading.
So some of my feedback, I'm fine with 1, 2, and 3. 4, I think, so 4, I think there's a bigger problem. We need to get our brand and our identity. So we have this logo. Nobody has an email signature that's unified. We have our old logo, working with the historic white and green are the colors of Galena, or have been traditionally, our roof's green. That's how we've been redoing our new buildings. I know you have your mayor logo. So to me, we should get a collective and create an entire brand guide for Galena. And we've had designers, come up with new logos. We've never stuck on anything, but as we're growing, as we're becoming, we should have a brand guide of what we can and cannot use, what the fonts are, what could be on social, and then what our letterhead as council is, how that's used. So there's just a whole rule and set, so anybody moving forward knows what it is. If we partner in community events, we know what we're sending and saying. So I think that number 4, and I think we can get this done for you, Pete, I have a marketing company, so that's where it stuck out for me, for that 4th reading to be adopted. But I can help take the lead if anybody wants to join me on that, for just getting a Galena brand guide for us to vote on and adopt, and that should get rid of a lot of these issues in my mind. So it's easier for me to say that than write that in an email.
Yeah, I think it's definitely needed, absolutely. And we talked about a brand refresh 2 years ago.
Yep.
Right? So if you're willing to take the lead, I'm more than willing to help. I'm sure we can get Lauren on staff to assist as well. So, yeah, just tell us when you want to get going.
Yeah, and so, and just to kind of clarify, on issue 4 with the social media, so we're drilling it down to ensure that we are staying within the guardrails of representing the community, right? Nothing in this language would prevent somebody from saying, Councilman so-and-so, Galena, Ohio, and then making periodic posts about updates in the community, or what, committees that you represent or what you're doing. In fact, I would actually encourage all of us to take on that task, because we now live in a world where, unfortunately, we're making rules about this at the table because this is where most people get their information from, and that's a real-time free medium that we can use to kind of reach out to the community and provide them with guidance on what we're doing in real-time updates. So I don't think the policy is designed to limit our ability as an elected leader to communicate. We're just kind of drilling that down, what that looks like, and giving us some guidance. That way we don't get off task or catch ourselves in the trick bag.
So to recap, I guess what I'm hearing so far is over the next few weeks, get your cards and letters to Pete, suggestions, modifications, comments on what's already presented. Jillian, you're going to take the lead on some kind of standardization of a logo and kind of how we present ourselves consistently out there in the public. And I'm on your team on that. And I think that's kind of it, Pete, unless there's something else.
Yeah, I would welcome feedback from the rest of council, because like I said, I think that conceptually we want this to be a breathing document and living through the process, and then we're kind of moving collectively as one group. That way we have a finalized product that we can implement in March. So if there's anybody that has any feedback on any of this or an idea of what they want to see, I think now is probably your first opportunity to kind of voice that.
I've got one question about number 3 for legislation section C5, replacing the word tabling with postpone. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't tabling and postpone 2 different legal phrases? Yeah.
And we can overlay that with Robert's rules to make sure
Okay.
we're doing it the correct way.
All right, moving on. An ordinance number 2025-17, third reading, an ordinance amending the Village of Galena zoning ordinance together with any amendments previously enacted and repealing all legislation which is inconsistent herewith. This is the packet that was given to us by the zoning commission. It's gone through just about every step you can imagine. We're on a third reading, so it's open for comment or for a motion to approve.
Like that, so moved on that motion?
Jill, motion. Do you have a second?
I'll second, because I was involved in that quite a bit. so
Yeah.
I'll second
Kathy,
that.
second. So Michelle, when you're ready.
Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes,
Thank you all. Ordinance number 2026-02, first reading, an ordinance regulating parking on municipal land and supplementing Chapter 76 of Ohio Basic Code. It's our first reading, but I would like to have a short discussion on this because Tom's been dealing with this quite a bit. Some of this, and we've got several issues that we need to think about as a group. The good news is Harrison Street's been redone. It's beautiful. We've got a nice curb and everything, but some of the challenges there is people had been in the past parking in the right-of-way between the sidewalk and the street. That is gone. So now we have some people parking in public spaces and things of that nature. And I know there's other things, Tom, that you're running into. You want to make a mention of those, just so people know what's happening?
Yeah, there's various parking, illegal parking around the village. A couple people are parking in the cemetery, like just right in the entrance, and then abandoning their car, stuff like that. We really don't have the right means to enforce that now, so we've been working with Ken, trying to figure out how to, get that right. And so an ordinance is the first step, signage is the second step, and then we can go about enforcing the parking. There's, like I mentioned before, an overall parking improvements program definition needs to be done village-wide, and I mentioned those other spots before. But so we have some issues at Ruffner Park, we have some issues at the cemetery. And along with this particular legislation doesn't address this, but we're going to be coming to you later with our recommendations for village-wide parking restrictions, say, on some of the roads that are too narrow for parking on both sides of the road. We're going to get an engineering study and look at recommendations for how to deal with that, possibly limiting parking to one side of the road. But that's not what this legislation is about. This is just about allowing us to enforce parking regulations where we have a sign.
when it comes to what you're saying in the cemetery, why on earth would they not just park in the parking lot?
I have no idea.
Okay,
Yeah, we can't figure that out. So I've talked to the sheriff about it, about enforcement, and so Ken thinks that this is the way to go, is get an ordinance, then we get signage, and then we'll do things in the right order.
Tom, I was curious, there's some residents who have homes who don't have anywhere but a public street to park. They don't have a back parking, they don't have a side parking, they don't have a garage. And I know that is in some of our busiest areas, right down on Columbus Street. And I was just wanting to throw out the thought there that I know that that's been a challenge and that there's kind of been an ongoing issue with that. Just food for thought, whether we do some type of a permit for those types of people. And I'm just thinking, like when my nephew lived down on campus and they kind of ran into that situation, it's just, free for all parking, trying to find somewhere to park. They don't have an issue or they're not being fined for that parking. But I think, parking certainly is coveted here in Galena. And so just some thought as you walk through this, that maybe a permit would be something for someone like that, because it is in front of their home, whether there's snow, whether there's rain, whether there's children. It seems only fair that that resident would have an opportunity to park in front of their home. So, yeah. Okay. Mhm.
Okay, any other comments on that? That's the first reading. All right,
Are you experiencing parking in Ruffner or Miller Park? Actually steady parking there?
On
Yes.
the upper part of.
The upper part of
Ruffner.
Ruffner Park, we're having some issues.
Oh, yeah, I know that,
Multiple
where the gravel turn,
pseudo-permanent-
the half moon turn.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we have to run somebody out of one of the parks. Usually, people are just hanging around. I don't know why they do this, but they're there for too long, and we see them and go down and ask them what's going on. They usually leave. But other than that, it's not. It's just the Ruffner issue mainly.
So I think as we advance through this issue, we're going to kind of have to do our due diligence on the front end. So number one is we hopefully are expanding, services from the sheriff's office into the village. They're right in the fact, I'm sure you're in your conversations, they're like, sure, I can't enforce an ordinance that doesn't exist, right? Because they're defaulting to either county code or ORC, which very rarely touches on parking. So the permit, idea is a great idea. You can break the city up into quadrants, right? It can be color coded, so on and so forth. And then probably at a minimum, I would suggest having the people who are issued the permits register their tag, right? So the tag either corresponds with the color coding or serial number, however we're going to do that. Then from there, we can then post like prohibitions against overnight parking in Ruffner Park, which then would allow the sheriff's office to say, hey, this vehicle isn't placarded with either a permit or a sticker. They're good to get them out of here because we know that the parks close at sundown. So and I'll put it in an email and send it to you. Yeah. May come as a surprise to you or not. I have an entire file with a bunch of this stuff that I can share with you. So.
yeah, bet you do. But yeah, as Tom said, first we got to get an ordinance in place because we don't have one. We went to Ken and we have to do that. And then signage comes second. And through this whole process, we'll determine what kind of signage and where. Yeah, thank you. Sure, you got to come up. Come up. Name and address, please. We're recording, so wait till you get there, please. Thank you.
So are we saying that any car parked along the street is parked illegally?
Name and address, please.
It says that they were in the past. They just, the curbs are there now on Harrison to stop the illegal parking.
Well, the curbs weren't put there to stop the illegal parking. Actually, the curbs are going to help with the drainage and everything else on the street, right? So it's just the proper thing to do when you do a street, you curb it. So that created the situation that, I mentioned earlier, where there was no longer enough room there to park and not be in the right of way or blocking the sidewalk.
Well, there'll eventually be curbs on Walnut
Walnut.
Street then, and I will lose my parking. Right?
But that's where the permits will help.
And that's, I'll say this too, like in our rough drafts that we've gotten on the design for Walnut Street, right? So you're not as land prohibited on Walnut. So for example, think High Street in downtown Columbus has some areas where they can accommodate it. They have the bump outs for parking. Does that make sense? So you can still have on-street parking and maintain the width for two vehicles to safely pass. Is it a perfect system? Are some people who probably have street parking right now going to lose it? Yeah, I would say that the difference between what we're seeing on Harrison versus Walnut is just about every house, I think except for 2 or 3, have off-street parking ability, right? So when we go through the design process, I would assume that that's going to be one of the things that we're going to take into account. We're not just going to arbitrarily take that entire easement and then say, too bad, so sad. If it's there, I think we're gonna try and accommodate it.
Okay, so, and if so, it's not going to be happening anytime quickly.
Oh, no, yeah. Walnut's a long way off.
All right.
Tom Hopper, 275 Harrison. Just to give you an update, the area of Walnut Street that hasn't been redone, the curbs, is already designed. Tom has the designs. All those issues about parking are already dealt with. Mr. Underwood has off-street parking arrangements in that design. It's already built into all that. And so nobody on Walnut Street in any of the areas that were curbed was not left in a situation they did not have off-street parking. So there's nobody in that whole area that will be left without some alternate to what they were parking on the street for. That's just part of the design.
Mr. Underwood, if you want to make arrangements, we can go and look at those plans together sometime and see what that is.
Because you have special driveway in off of Walnut Street to replace your on-street parking. It's in the plan.
Does the house just south of them with the picket fence also have that type of arrangement?
Every house has some kind of arrangement. I don't remember what the house with the picket fence, I don't remember whether their arrangement was to come in off of the back street.
Okay.
I don't remember, but everybody and most property owners were talked to at length by the engineers at the time. So all the property owners have an alternate to parking on the street.
Michelle Parsons, 115 Middle Street, Galena, Ohio. Okay, I've read about this and I understand it. We have a lot of older people on Walnut. I mean, this doesn't affect me whatsoever. I have 3 driveways. But there's people on Walnut Street who have either had strokes or they can't, the cost of fixing it or getting their area up to code would cost, to adapt to this road change could take a year or 2 for them. They don't have the money, and I know 83 Walnut Street is not wheelchair bound, but he definitely can't walk much. And for him to try to clean out his garage or get everything ready financially, that's going to be a burden for a lot of people, especially the older residents. So when we talk about everything's done and everything else, we really need to take in the financial situation of these people and what the cost is going to be for them to get into their driveway or to have their garage able to work on it. Because these people have done this for, 30 years, maybe 50. And I think we need to have a time frame on this that allows everyone to be able to financially do this and make sure that the safety of the people, especially the older ones, are not going to be hindered here. And it's a real concern for me because, I actually help them out myself. So I think we need to go to every house and make sure that they're handicapped or whatever they need, that we're going to help them out. Because they'll have to sell and leave.
I would say that's probably my concern too, is if somebody's parking 20 feet from their front door now, but the accommodation is for them to park around back, do they have a stone path or, do
can
they
they
have a
walk
path
it?
if they're in a wheelchair? Do they have the ability to get to their back door to get into the house? Those are questions that I think are fair.
I can perform an inventory of every resident and go through the plan, and I think that'd be a good exercise to see where we're at on that. By the way, nobody's proposing doing anything on Walnut Street right now anyhow. But I think it'd be a good idea to go through.
Yeah,
I think this is throughout the village. We're building the village. We're going to do Walnut. We're going to do a lot of things. We need to take into consideration the financial impact on these people. Because I don't want anyone hurt because we didn't address them personally.
So
Okay.
the very first, I'll just jump in real quick on that. The very first renderings we had were just more of an artistic,
Oh, I
right?
know.
This is what we want it to look like. We haven't gotten further enough down the road to where we, apparently there was an engineering plan that was done at one point. That's not saying that's the engineering plan that we're adopting. We haven't even gotten that far, correct?
Okay, so there's a plan that, an engineering plan for the road as it exists.
Right.
And it's in 4 phases. And we have those plans. Phase 4 hasn't been completed yet. That's the last of the phases. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong. And Phase 4 will connect Walnut Street and Harrison Street at a right angle. But in each of those plans, everything's on those, like the right-of-ways and stuff like that. I think that's what Tom's referring to. that those engineering plans that exist show.
Those are finished, ready to go to bid plans. They're not
Let's,
discussion, they are ready to go to bid.
the engineering's done.
Engineering.
We're going to be going for grant approvals for those, and the grant that we would go for, OPWC grant, can't even really get that until September. We're talking about,
I understand.
It'd be phase 4.
I just want to make sure that we really put an impact on how these people are being impacted who are there are people. And a lot of them have been here a lot longer than we have. No, I understand, Tom. I get it. But I just know I give food and I go over and help people. And I know their walking ability or what they can do is not a long distance.
Michelle. Okay. Anything else? All right. Ordinance number 2026-03, first reading, an ordinance adopting the personnel policies and procedure manual and repealing any existing or prior personnel policy and procedures manual. Tom discussed this a little bit earlier. Any comments on that?
The only comment I had, of course, I don't know where my note is, so it's going to be off the top of my head, but when it comes to driving the vehicles for the village, do we periodically check driver's license and whatnot?
Yeah, we have a background check required and a driving record required. and
Like
a
every
driver's
year?
license.
Or
We have not in the past checked that periodically, but we certainly could.
I think it might be a nice idea, especially a vision test. Those are some things that have come up in the past.
Thank you. Good idea.
All right, other business. Last month, I passed out the business case and package on the 1792 South Old 3C Highway Red House. Okay, this was the two-page, essentially, plan that Tom and I developed over a year ago. We have executed almost everything on here. The things that are kind of remaining really get down to kind of work we want to do with the actual physical property. The annexation's now complete. The idea, one of the ideas anyways, was to parcel off the house and sell the house as a separate parcel, and the village keep approximately 2 acres of that land for whatever use we decide down the road. That's kind of the proposal on the table, but there could be certainly some other good ideas we should consider for that property. It's been vacant now for a couple of years. Okay, that's really not good for a home to let it stay vacant like that. We need to make some decisions here. We don't necessarily have to do it tonight, but maybe we can have a discussion right now, and if we can get to a decision, that's great. If we do this next month for a final decision, but I'd like to get this resolved.
I struggle with any land that we have available in the village, giving that up. There isn't any land.
Right.
So I think we need to find a way to hold on to this. Holding on to it, is it for future police? Who knows? Is it for salt delivery and all kinds of stuff? Who knows? But the other piece is to decide on the house. Do we refurbish the house, collect rent? So maybe it's 3 or 4 years before we do anything. At least we're collecting rent from there. If we could have a pass going down the side alongside that house, and it would be a legal width, then we could keep the land in the back for us and rent the house in the front. But
That-
I just struggle.
Kathy, that is the picture here.
Yeah, I got it right
That
here.
is how it's.
That, I just struggle to sell, whatever, let go of any land in this village, because there isn't any.
Mhm.
But whatever everybody else thinks.
I was curious on the integrity of the house, structurally. Have we taken a peek at that? Because, I love the idea of keeping all that land, absolutely. I was just curious, I know it's very expensive to take down a house. So I was hoping that structurally that the house would be in good shape to be able to sell.
They did some of the big things. Michelle and I went in. They did some of the big things as far as the roof,
foundation?
Was it even heating and cooling? Yeah, go ahead. Or just
No,
do it right here.
just while Michelle walks up there, we had a professional come in and do an assessment.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, it's now a year and a half old, but the
It's not
house
horrible.
was essentially structurally good. It had a new roof, it had some new windows. It was assessed at around $285,000 at the time, okay? Probably more around three or a little bit more than 300,000 now that we could sell and take that money and use it somewhere else, connecting to Walnut Creek Trail, moving that trail all the way through that we don't have today, and keeping that land, the rest of that land to run that trail, or if Tom finds a better way. But that's kind of what we're up against. So like we could sell that house, parcel it off like it is here, sell it, use that money. I don't personally think we ought to get in the rental business. I don't really think that's the business we're in. So then the other option is to tear it down and keep the whole parcel. Or perhaps, Pete and I were talking briefly today, perhaps someone would want to move it and buy it and just move the house off of there. I really don't know if that's even a possibility, but we could look into that. Yeah. Are you turned on?
I actually went through the house a year ago, and the windows are new, water tank is new, I believe the furnace is new. The building itself is in great shape. This older gentleman was actually rehabbing it. The upstairs he's put walls up. Jeff was concerned about me going up the steps, but it's a railing. It wasn't creaky or falling apart. I really do believe the buildings we're keeping, and I think we could use it if we just, it's not going to take that much. I mean, this is what I do. I just rehabbed mine on 79 West Cherry Street. And I think eventually we're going to have a police department, a place to park the police, and we may have to have lean-tos for salt. I mean, we're taking on all this land and all these people and trucks and things like that. We're going to have more snow trucks. We're going to have more people here. We have to places to put those trucks safely. And I think it'd be a great idea to keep this. You could rent it, okay, or you can keep it for storage, whatever you want. But this land in 5 years, when we really will need more land, is going to be worth a lot more to us. And I think selling it is short-sighted because we have no other land left for our trucks and all the equipment we're going to need. And you're going to have a place to put that. And the area of the sewer is not a good place for that. It's not going to be enough what you have. Because Genoa has, if you go to Genoa, you look at their stuff, it's huge. And with those bigger trucks, and you're going to have salt trucks, you're going to have snow trucks, you're going to have all the stuff to put the stuff in the truck, and you have a place to have a place to put that. And I think this building is worth keeping, and I think you could rent it out if you wanted to. You'd probably get about $2,000. So what we're going to sell for $325, within 5 years, we've already paid it back. So it's a great building.
You got maintenance.
Thanks for sharing that. I had a chance to
all
go through
kinds
that
of
as
other
well,
stuff.
but not to the, it was right when it sold. So I didn't have a chance to see that it was in. Sure. That's good. Structurally, that's important. Thank you.
We did, just for other facts to throw into this thing, we do have, and in your packet, you have the engineering study. They estimated about $40,000 to demolish the house. So just so we have that number in our head.
That's something I would think.
Yeah, for me,
To me, for 40,
yeah,
Michelle's going to kill me.
from where I sit, and anybody could correct me if they think I'm wrong. So I do think that the land is worth it, right? So we could sell the house. You make a little bit of money for the village right now. I agree with the mayor. I do not think that we should be in the rental business. I think that you're on a very slippery slope as municipal governance once we get into the rental business. You open yourself up to additional legal issues and headaches that we may not want to take on or have time for. If I was a private landowner, absolutely, let's go for it. But as a municipal government, I don't think so. I will say that, my thoughts are they're making a lot of things, they're not making more land, right? So we have this tangible asset. I also know that a house deteriorates at an accelerated rate when it's not being used. So I also know from the past year being around here, when you take an old structure and try and bend it to the will of your current needs, it is going to fight you the entire way. Would I be wrong in making that statement?
Correct.
So if we were to take that current facility and say, hey, let's just use this for, the village, we'll put offices in it, we'll use it for storage, I think that you're also opening up, another round of headaches. If we sell the land and we keep it in the current flag lot condition that it is, we sell the house, man, what happens if there is a police station behind there, right? And what happens when, the big salt trucks and the deliveries and stuff are rolling in and out of there? So now we put ourselves potentially in a position where there could be additional litigation because of decreased value, because of the location. Where I'm at, I think that we keep that land, and now it's just a decision of what do we do with that house, right? Do we do a controlled burn for BTSG? Do we demolish the house? What do we do with it? That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Thank you.
There's good points on both, honestly, from my seat. I think it's cost prohibitive if we own it and we have a maintenance department that can maintenance it. That kind of helps if you wanted to rent it. But yeah, I think for me, the biggest piece is probably keeping the land because it'll just continue to go up. And like you said, we're out of land. I don't know if we would have the future budget if we spent those funds up front to buy other land, if there was some that came available in the village. So I don't know. I was on council when we voted for this a couple of years ago, or about 2.5 years ago, and I think that the idea was to have it as a future asset. So I don't think that my opinion has changed on that. So.
Yeah, the initial plan was to have it as the trail connector and have a maintenance facility on it.
Yeah, I think with it being only $40,000 to demolish, I had it much higher than that. I think that is probably the way to go. I know it's hard to take down a structure like that, and I'm torn with that. But at the same time, if you have someone who has bought that land and now you want to put a police station or you want to put the salt trucks behind it, they're going to have a lot of issue with that resident who's going to fight that, being right next to them. So this way, you actually have a really clean parcel versus taking out, maybe it's an acre or a little less, I guess. A little less.
It's 0.39.
Yeah.
And a phenomenal business decision on your part, Mr. Mayor and Tom, about, finding out a way to do it. I think that we just find ourselves in a position where I think the land is worth keeping. Now it's just a matter of what do you do with the house, right? What do we do with the house?
Do we have a loan on the house?
Maybe somebody move it,
How-
take
how-
it.
If we were to sell it off,
Do you guys know, because I wasn't on council, but did we take a loan out to buy the house, or how do we purchase the property?
no, we paid cash for it. Now, do we know positively, looking at that, if we sell the house with what the legal easements have to be, is there enough room for us then to have a driveway
It
going
says-
down the left?
It says 35 feet. We'd have a 35-foot stretch until we get to the back
Yep.
of that 200-foot property. So
To me, the critical part would be, say you have a family moved in there, you're gonna have to put up some type of fence
There,
or something.
so
like that.
Kathy, I think this answers your question. So if you look at the picture,
it's got
the
dimensions.
driveway for the house is, what is that, north? On the north end?
Yes, yes.
So it's on the far end, on the farthest north end is the driveway to the house. And then the entrance to what would be our, retaining property is on the south side. So that was where the idea was, that the drive could come through here and the trail could come through here.
Being over there, it didn't look like that. It didn't look like there was a driveway on the
There
other
is,
side.
there is on the other end of the side of the house.
It's kind of grassed over,
So-
Kathy, but that's the main driveway is on the north side. There's two driveways, one of the south. If I could just mention something to council, I've been thinking about this a lot, and, as has been pointed out here, the house is, got a lot of value. I mean, I'd live in that house. I'd get the mold out of there first, but, it's crappy in some ways, but it's got a lot of improvements, and it's a nice place, somebody will buy that for $300,000. So the house has a lot of redeeming elements, but to use it for our use, we'd have to spend $150,000. It doesn't make any sense to try
Because
to
we
rehab
got to
that.
put it up to commercial standards.
Yeah, we have to have
not
an ADA
residential.
restroom and everything like that. If we want to rent it out, I'm super concerned about liability. I mean, meeting the industry standard of care. What if there's mold in there? I know there's mold in there, you know, but if a private guy, all for renting that out. I mean, I'd keep that and rent it out every day, but as a village, I really agree with Councilman, not a good idea. So if we want to keep the land, basically we have to tear the house down, which I think is a shame because I think it's like a $200,000 thing. I mean, what's the lot worth, Jill? A small little residential lot
gosh.
right there.
I'm just,
100?
yeah, I'm just going to say
So
probably
if we
around
sell it
100.
for 300, the house is worth 200. So we're basically throwing away $200,000 by not selling that house.
Couldn't we sell that?
It'll
many
go up
acres?
later. No, it would increase in value 5-10 years from now. 'cause
Well,
there's
we're
gonna be
talking about
nothing
today's
around
dollars, so with the $300,000 we get from the sale and put in the bank, that also increases in value.
Yeah,
But
I
Tom,
think-
it's 2 acres, I'm sorry. You were just asking about one lot, but I'd say
No,
so closer to.
the little lot is just.
Oh,
a
just the
little
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
just the little
Yeah.
lot.
We
which
plan
is
on
an
keeping the
85
vast
by
majority
200.
of it. It's just a small little residential lot that we plan on selling out. And we can just put it right in give notice that it's city property back there that may have future city use, just disclose it right up front.
Yeah, can we just sell it as is?
That's what I
And
would
with
do.
all that disclosure?
That's what I would
Jill?
do.
I mean, I will not sign off on tearing it down. You can't tear a building down like that. I've been in it. You can fix it up, but
I'll do whatever council wants. It could go either way, like Mike said, you know, there's good points on both sides of it, but, you know, if my
Why don't we all
recommendation-
just think about it a little bit
Yeah,
more?
think
This
about
is
it
the
more.
First real discussion we've had on it.
You can kind of boil it down to, though, 3 options. It really comes down to what do you do with the house, as what Pete was just putting in my ear. And I can think of 3 things you do with the house. You sell it as is. I think as a municipality, we have to go to auction to do those kinds of sales, okay? You take it down, destroy it, and fill it in, and right? Or you see if we can possibly have someone buy it and take it away, you know?
I just don't want to, I guess I'll say this in closing, and then I'll shut up. I just do not want to see us in a position 15 years down the road where we need every last square inch that we can. And we profited from it. We didn't lose money on it. It was a sound business decision. As a private business, you're making that decision every day. We're kind of bound by the constraints in the village of our village property, right, has to be in the village. You know what I mean? So I would hate to see 15 years down the road that we need to expand whatever it would be, maintenance, or Delaware County is building a substation for policing, whatever scenario we find ourselves in, and we're not sitting here saying, man, I wish we would have sold that house. I wish we wouldn't have sold that house.
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
A lot of I've been involved in this kind of work for a long time, and a lot of municipalities will require as part of development arrangement, like if a big development's going in one of these places, require that they parcel off land for a firehouse. I've seen that many times.
Yep.
So I think there's other opportunities, especially with development, to get.
Sure.
It's not like there won't be any other.
Yeah, on the public safety side, nobody minds having, a substation for a police department or a firehouse in their neighborhood, right? That's peace of mind. They do start to get a little ticked off when they have a maintenance barn in their
Well, I can
backyard,
say,
right? Like, we're-
I can testify that there's enough room on the wastewater property to handle our maintenance needs. I mean, there really is. It's a pretty good-sized lot. We won't have to expand that plant probably ever. If we ever do, it'll be a very small footprint.
And then I'll overlay that too with, right now, and listen, I know that we want to trust everybody. It would not surprise me if somebody were to purchase that home knowing that it's municipal property behind it and could be a salt barn someday. And then when the salt barn gets built, all of a sudden they have a problem, right? And we don't even have to go that far back in history because there were people who built their house behind Polaris Amphitheater, and then Polaris Amphitheater became the evil empire. So they knew what they were getting themselves into, and then it became a problem later on down the road. I'm just trying to look at it from a 30,000-foot view and make decisions for whoever is unlucky enough to be sitting in the seat in 12 or 16 years.
Let's say Pete did it. Yeah. Well, okay, we'll bring this back next month. Please consider what we want to do. We do need to make a decision. And I'll be asking for a decision next month, right? Okay, Zach, you want to talk a bit about zoning last week and 42 West Columbus Street?
Yeah. Okay, so we got amended commercial development plan proposed to us. Where does it say, what is the design? Because I had to search this up because I had no idea what this was. A Tegu box style service station from the 1950s. And so based on the drawings, it looks identical to one of those, at least that you can see on Google Images. And so it's going to be right next to Coldwater at the intersection of, I believe it's, Middle Columbus, and then the far edge would be West Street, so it's right there. He brought forward that plan. It's supposed to be what is it classified as, a unique retail for high-end high-end collectors' cars and doing detailing work. And
In that little space?
yeah, the 0.1 acre parcel. It says 0.107 acres. It is approximately anywhere from, it's about 151 feet of road space on Columbus Street, about 25 feet of road space on Middle, and then about 51 and a half on the they got it in there good. It looks like it'll work.
What were the concerns in zoning?
Mostly parking, because it will be removing 2 parking spots that are currently on West Columbus Street.
Yeah, we had an engineering meeting today about that. This had never gone through engineering yet before it came to planning and zoning. So I have something I'll try to show you.
I also got the impression that when I listened to the zoning meeting, that it was only for, he was not really doing the work there. He has a place on Trenton.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
really a
it was a
showroom, 2-bay showroom
Yeah.
with additional private parking for some, half a dozen cars. So it's not people going in and out. He'd be bringing in his classics,
It's
his,
not one of those 5-minute oil change places.
right. It's really a really fun little concept. And, but the challenge is just the congestion down there.
So the problem with the design that was shown to the Planning and Zoning Commission is that the driveway to the facility is problematic because it's too close to either intersection. It's all congested in there. So I got up here a version that shows a possible idea where if you look at is to eliminate this driveway idea. From an engineering perspective, it's really problematic having this driveway here. Instead, if we could give him private access to get into his lot, because he doesn't need to get in and out, he just needs to park some cars there. But he can participate with the village, pay his fair share, and she can pay her fair share, because the original development plan contemplated creating parking spots here. If they contributed, the village could contribute, and we could get 10 parking spots there. We could also have a line of sight to the stop sign. It's really problematic right now because it's buried back there. It's all congested over here. We could get all this stuff narrowed down, and Hollis likes this idea. He said, this is great, and I think we can work it out, and I really do. So I would support something like this, but when it comes to this whole thing here, I think we would need to really think about that in the congestion it would cause. But yeah, he can fit it in there. And here's what it would look like with what we talked about today in our engineering meeting.
And we're okay with the easements of proper?
Yeah, we have a lot of easement this way. I'll tell you what else this would help. What was the question, Tom? The question?
It would help with the easement.
The easement, yeah, and I just said that the easement here is already pretty far in. He would give us a little more as part of this too. And so.
Kathy, can you keep your mic on so that way it might get caught on?
Oh, sorry, yeah, thank you. Anyhow, that's what's on the table right now. What this would involve though is that we would have to waive the requirement for him to have on-site public parking for his business, because it's kind of a storefront, like if this were an ice cream shop, you wouldn't have parking back in there. What this plan does is ensures that into the future, this will,
It limits what it can be in the future.
it does, it limits it to storefront property. So it will never be like a gas station or something like that, because it won't have the right access, it'll only have this access here. And really with the lot and the configuration, we believe, I and our village engineer worked on this, that this is the best solution for everybody. The village gets parking, we get line of sight, we actually get a little bit wider road out of it. You know, his customers can park here, he's not really gonna have that many
Right,
customers.
is his intention just to show off cars?
Pretty
Or
much.
is his intention to have a sales house there?
His intention is to sell cars, very expensive cars occasionally. He wants to create an antique and old-fashioned looking thing. He wants people to be able to come in and take their picture with their classic car in front of the old-fashioned gas station. You know, that's what he wants. But he's not gonna be around forever. In 50 years, this way, this helps control that lot. And so that's our engineer recommendation. Mr. Hall says he's fine with it. I suggested maybe putting it before planning and zoning with the understanding that we would work something out like this parking-wise, so he can keep moving along. He's concerned he wants to move the project.
Did you have those further conversations with Norm from an insurance?
I have never met Norm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've tried to.
and Coldwater?
It's becoming a recurring theme.
Not really excited about anything over on that lot. But
Yeah.
we're not-
I just wondered if there was
anything.
the conversation yet, because I know that was going to take place.
You heard that on
Yeah,
the
on the
zoning. Yeah,
zoning.
we're still pursuing that.
Yeah.
Ken Molnar is working with me on that.
Great.
Tom and Mark Ruffner worked this out today and showed me this afternoon. I thought, yeah, that's a really nice approach to this problem. We had told zoning that we're going to share this tonight so that there could be at least, you guys could start to see an eyeball on it. And then the zoning will probably be moving forward with an open hearing next month, all right, as we're going through our process, just so you know where we're at.
So for those parking spots, can you put that back on? Since we may as well ask this question now, is the new parking spot zone, so the end of the parking spot, the new ones, would be where the I guess, interior edge of the parking spots would be now, in terms of, from the center line?
No, they'd be pushed way in.
Yeah, but I mean, like so, you know, I'll just come down and point at it.
Yeah, but this could be, we want to make this a little farther in. I think we can get another foot or two.
So this is where the spot, so but it lines up with where the current line is.
Yes, but we're gonna try to get another foot or two.
Yeah, you're gonna be shoving it
We want to shove this
into
whole-
the property.
Yeah,
So our cars going to park into it or parallel?
into headed parking.
Okay, head-in parking, thank you.
That's right, we get 10 spaces out of what, 3?
Got it.
I think there's 4.
One of those is obstructed,
It's a tough
right? We
So
need to take
that
that out.
That way,
anyway.
we don't have to modify anything on the south end of the road with that parallel parking. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're in discussions with Coldwater. We think that they're part of the development plan anyhow, and actually they're on the hook in some level to develop the spaces on West, and so our proposal would, our proposal to zoning would be, in council, my proposal would be to just hold off on those West Street parking spots now and have her contribute the cost of that to this other project out front. Have Hollis contribute to that, what it would have cost him anyhow to do the work, and then have the village kick in the rest, and we get safe. This is a hot spot in that Safe Streets audit, and the mayor and council president Pete can attest to that. This is one of our worst areas, and the line of sight on the stop sign is probably one of our biggest issues right now in the village, is that area around there. And this really helps that line of sight. It bumps the stop sign out. It moves the parking spaces back, and it eliminates a curb cut that we really don't want there. You know, and I'll tell you what, Mr. Hollis is just so easy to work with. I mean, he'll do anything. He really wants to come up with a win-win.
Okay, for the next zoning meeting, Hey, guys, look, we need to move on. I'm
No.
sorry. We'll take this in the next zoning meeting. Thank you. Executive session, we have executive session tonight, Mr. President,
Yeah, we do.
and what's the reason?
Some conduct issues that need to be addressed, or at least discussed.
Chip, for executive session, we want to make sure we do this the right way.
Okay.
So, I think you said conduct.
Conduct, yeah.
Conduct.
He said conduct.
Yeah.
Conduct. Okay. I was caught off guard.
So
Mr.
that would be
Pre-
120, that'd be section 121.22G1.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion from the president to go into executive session.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Jill. Michelle, when you're ready.
Mike?
Who's this about? What staff member?
Councilman Fry.
No. I don't know what this is about, so
Okay.
I wasn't notified of anything like this, so.
Okay. Pete?
Yes.
Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to clear the room, including admin,
What's
please.
the time?
7:17.
7:17. Executive session? Michelle, we're going to clear the room.
What's that? Oh, good. There you go. No, those are the cinnamon ones. But the root beer ones are good too. I like those. And the butterscotch. Yeah, that health thing's a hard